CTV News with Caroline Meehan and Max Keeping.
The recession and a broken conventional TV system take victims in Ottawa and 3 other cities.
Good evening. A News in Ottawa, owned by CTV, has cancelled its 6 and 11 p.m. and weekend newscasts. That means a loss of 25 jobs in the capital and a further 9 in Pembroke. It will expand its morning program by 2 more hours. CTV today also slashed programming at Victoria, London, and Barrie A stations. Here's CTV's Norman Fetterly.
A layoff in television looks like a layoff in any other business. There's emotion, some tears, and a wrenching break from friends and colleagues.
I've been a journalist for 30 years, in print, radio, TV, both sides of the camera, and I can't imagine what else I'll do.
And so on a day bitter for more than the cold, Denise LeBlanc is packing up her car and her job.
It's going to be difficult to try and get another position in the broadcast industry. So many people are taking a look and going, well, is this the industry that I even want to be in anymore?
I shake it off.
What you watch on TV really comes in 2 types. Specialty channels for things like sports or news, conventional channels that offer a mix of programming.
The conventional television system in Canada is broken.
A Television Ottawa's Richard Gray says the recession has worsened revenue, but the biggest problem is something called fees for carriage. That's essentially a subscriber fee for conventional television, as you now pay for specialty channels. Denied that revenue stream, Richard Gray says conventional channels face a further slide into red ink and layoffs.
And in all likelihood, there'll be many more days like today where local stations will be forced to cut even more local programming and even face the prospect of entire closure.
And that's already happened. A stations in Wingham and Windsor will close this summer. But it's not just CTV. CanWest Global is a heartbeat away from bankruptcy protection. Global doesn't have a television station here in Ottawa, but they do own the Ottawa Citizen. And CBC has tried and failed to get more money from the federal government. Big economics, big blows for the sort of committed and creative people who lost their jobs at A Ottawa today.
Television production is a team sport, and you work very closely with your coworkers. So I think that's the saddest part is to leave your team behind.
And a job lost is a job lost, whatever the industry. Lives and careers sailing smoothly, then suddenly sunk. Norman Fetterly, CTV News.
So what's behind the shakeup hitting television and newspapers here and around the world, and where is this all going? Barry McLaughlin is president of McLaughlin Media here in Ottawa. Barry, we're told the business model for television is broken, but newspapers are struggling too. So what's at the root of all this?
Well, first of all, I think the major thing that's happened, of course, is the economy has exacerbated a lot of the underlying problems that are faced today by news media. We're seeing a demographic shift away. Young people today are spending more and more time consuming their information on internet, emailing, Facebooking, Twittering, and everything else, and less time before the television and before a newspaper. So that's one major driver. The second thing is the business model, I think, is broken. There's no question that conventional broadcasters do feel that the money that goes to cable and satellite doesn't end up in their pocketbooks, and that creates a real revenue differential that they feel has to be changed. So there's several factors involved. Okay. Well, news on the internet is free and it's on demand. So how can TV and newspapers compete with that? Can they? Well, they have to find ways of making themselves more relevant. I mean, all of them have their online editions. That's important. There's been some talk that the mobile version of it isn't exactly as user-friendly. I mean, more and more today, it's not sitting at a computer desk. It's on that iPhone, it's on the BlackBerry, and it's got to be much more readily available. It's really talking about anytime, anywhere news, as opposed to when the broadcaster or when the newspaper wants to give it to you. So there's a real shift over towards the consumer end of the demand. Okay, so I mean, if young people aren't watching TV today or television, local news, and not reading newspapers, could this spell the demise of this local traditional industries, I suppose, when I want to ask? No, I don't think so. First of all, the CRTC commissioned a study by Nordicity Group that showed that the dominant news leader in every market in Canada is actually fairly profitable, your station being obviously one of them. The dominant newspaper in that market also tends to hold its own There's been some decline in readership, some flattening of audiences, but the dominant ones tend to charge a premium for their commercials over and above what would otherwise be the case. And advertisers are putting perhaps less commercial time. They're buying less numbers of ads, but they are there for the dominant leaders. So tonight's example, very sad story today with the 8 Channel, but that is part of the reality today.
Okay, Barry McLaughlin, I wish we had more time. Thank you. Go get warm.
Thank you, Caroline. I will.